So Donald Trump and Jack Smith walk into a bar. No punchline yet, because the joke is still unfolding. Donald Trump walks in first, loud, already mad, arguing with the bartender about how the bar was rigged before he even ordered a drink. He's pointing at the taps like, that one cheated. Side-eyeing the jukebox like it's part of the deep state, telling anybody within earshot that he actually won at bars like this all across America. Then Jack Smith walks in. Quiet, no entourage, no monologue, orders a water, keeps the receipt. That's the deposition. That's the entire story. Now, let me tell you why this whole thing grabbed me in a way that's different. I didn't come to politics through Twitter. I didn't come through cable news. I came through voter registration. I spent years registering voters across this country. Real people, real fear, real hope. Church basements where the lights flicker and the folding chairs wobble. College campuses where students whisper, does this even matter? Barbershops where elders look you dead in the face and say, baby, I've been voting since before they wanted me to. I've watched Black folks risk jobs, housing, peace of mind just to participate. So when I read this Jack Smith deposition, and then I panned down to Atlanta and watched the absolute circus around Fannie Willis, something clicked in my spirit. I said, hold on. I think Donald Trump doesn't just have a legal problem. I think he has a Black voter problem. Because every time Black people show up in democracy, voting, counting, certifying, prosecuting, suddenly it's corruption. Suddenly it's a witch hunt. Suddenly the system is unfair. But funny thing, when Black folks don't show up, everything works just fine. Let's talk about Jack Smith for a second, because Republicans swore they were about to cook this man. They subpoenaed him like they were loading a Netflix special. They called him deranged. They called him a thug. They said, this is where we expose the political hit job. They wanted clips. They wanted gotcha moments. They wanted Fox News appetizers. And what did they get? Nothing. I've read depositions. I've watched people sweat. I've watched people lie themselves into knots. This wasn't that. Jack Smith didn't raise his voice, didn't grandstand, didn't give speeches. He just answered the questions. And Republicans, the party that claims to love facts, somehow never actually challenged the facts. Not once did they successfully dismantle the evidence. Not once did they punch holes in the timeline. Not once did they explain why Trump lost over 60 court cases and still acted like he won. Instead, they did what Republicans always do when reality won't cooperate. They complained about the process, specifically their phone records, which is hilarious because imagine committing a crime and being shocked your phone shows up in the investigation. And that's like robbing a bank and saying, but why did y'all look at the cameras? Jack Smith calmly explained something that apparently shocked them. Your phone records weren't collected because of politics. They were collected because of Trump's conduct and your conduct. That's not persecution. That's proximity. And this is where Republicans really lost control of the narrative, because Jack Smith's case wasn't built on Democrats. It wasn't built on liberals, and it wasn't built on MSNBC talking heads. His star witnesses were Republicans, Trump voters, Trump campaigners, Trump allies, Republican speakers of the House in Arizona and Michigan, Republican election officials, a Republican congressman in Pennsylvania, a Trump elector, who told investigators that what Trump was doing was illegal and amounted to trying to overthrow the government. That's not spin. That's your own people saying, nah, this ain't right. And that's why this transcript was dumped on New Year's Eve. This was a classic Washington news burial. Drop it when folks are tired, distracted, drunk, or focused on resolutions they won't keep. Because if people actually read it, the story becomes painfully simple. This wasn't about free speech. Jack Smith made that distinction so clean, it hurt feelings. Trump was free to say he won the election. He was free to lie about it. What he was not free to do was knowingly lie in order to obstruct a lawful government function. The First Amendment does not protect fraud. It does not protect defamation. And it damn sure does not protect organizing fake electors, pressuring officials, and sicking a mob on the Capitol. And Republicans keep pretending they don't understand that difference, which tells me one of two things. Either they don't read or they think you don't. Now let's talk about the laziest talking point they keep dragging out like it still has life in it. Well, elections have been disputed before. Yes, they have. But here's the part they always skip over. When the courts ruled, that was it. Al Gore didn't burn down Washington. Democrats didn't storm Congress. Nobody forged fake slates of electors. Trump lost over 60 cases. At some point, that's not skepticism, that's narcissism with a flag pin. And this is where my voter registration brain kicks in again. Because I've sat across from Black voters who were told their whole lives their vote didn't matter, and then Georgia happened, Atlanta happened, Fulton County happened, Black voters showed up. Black organizers did the work. Black women saved democracy and still didn't get a thank you card. And suddenly Trump is calling election officials, asking them to find votes. Suddenly prosecutors are corrupt. Suddenly black women doing their jobs are the problem. Let's talk about Fani Willis because the energy is identical. The moment a black prosecutor touches Trump with the law, it's chaos, it's scandal, it's personal. But when Trump commits the acts on tape, that's just politics. Funny how accountability only feels political when it shows up black. Jack Smith even said something in that deposition that should have stopped the room cold. He said he is eyes wide open to the fact that Trump would seek retribution against him if given the chance. That's not paranoia, that's pattern recognition. We've watched Trump go after judges, prosecutors, attorneys general, anyone who told him no. This deposition wasn't about the past, it was a warning, and Republicans know it. That's why there was no victory lap, no bombshell clip, no triumphant headline. They called the witness. They got the truth, and the truth didn't blink. So when I zoom out from Jack Smith to Fani Willis to Georgia to January 6th, I don't see chaos. I see a man who keeps losing elections when black voters show up. I see a party that protects him by pretending the law is optional. And I see a growing panic that democracy actually works when everybody participates. Donald Trump doesn't fear fraud. He fears participation. Because I've seen what happens when black voters decide not to be quiet, not to be intimidated, and not to disappear. So yeah, Donald Trump and Jack Smith walk into a bar. One tells stories, the other brings receipts. And the reason this fascinates me is because I've watched democracy work from the ground up. And apparently, that's the one thing some folks can't forgive.